All right, we're up to chapter 17. Just one more chapter after this till the end of The Secret of Smith's Hill. Our headline today, Dad, Mom, finally hear all of the story. Could this chapter have the resolution? Let's read and see. The story so far, the twins hope that if they can find the grave, the adults will move the shed, but Dad has caught them digging and is furious. Into the house, both of you, Dad shouted, his eyes flashing anger. This minute, give me those shovels. But Dad, Kelly began, scrambling out of the cellar hole. Don't butt Dad me, their father thundered, taking the shovels. Come along now, march! Miserably, Kelly and James followed him to the house. Mom was waiting in the kitchen, looking more sad than angry. I don't understand, Mom said. You've always been good, honest children. Are you sure it's not the move? That's the only thing I can think of. But this place is so much safer. At this point, Dad said severely, I'm not sure the reason for their misbehavior matters. We have a whole series of events here, a whole series of disturbances. And then we have lying on top of them. If you kids were upset about the move, why couldn't you just have told us? It's not that, Kelly said. What is it then? Mom asked. Are you angry with us for some reason? No, said James. At least, well, we're angry that you don't trust us, Kelly said. Don't trust you, Dad exploded. What possible reason have you given us to trust you? No matter what we say or do, you keep on doing destructive things. We are not doing destructive things, Kelly shouted. Really, we're not. We're trying to stop them. But she could see Mom and Dad didn't believe her. Look, she went on. I know you don't believe in ghosts. Top of the second column. Not you too, Kelly, said Mom. What is wrong with you? With both of you? There are no ghosts, Kelly. Ghosts do not exist. James took a deep breath. Okay, he said. Okay, so there are no ghosts. I didn't think there were either at first. Now I do. James, Dad said, looking alarmed now. Son, listen. Never mind the ghost, Kelly said. The thing is, James and I are pretty sure that shed is being built over a grave. Frances Smith's grave, James said. She used to live here and we think she wrote the diary and that she loved a Revolutionary War soldier who was killed. And she died of a broken heart, Kelly added, and was buried here in 1782. We found part of her gravestone in the dirt pile. And we looked her up in the town records that day when Sam took us to town, James went on. And, Kelly said, we think we should move the shed. Because, James said piously, it's not respectful to disturb a grave. It's quite possible, possibly not legal either, said Dad. He looked at Mom. You said the librarian thinks that diary is authentic, meaning real. The librarian thinks the diary is real, like really from the Revolutionary War. There was a very long silence. Do you believe us? Kelly asked in a very small voice. We want to, Mom said after glancing, ding, 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 at Dad. We'll see, said Dad, in the morning. Kelly was so nervous the next morning that she hardly tasted her cereal, and she could tell that James felt the same way. As soon as breakfast was over, Mom called the librarian and asked more about the diary. As she listened to the librarian's answer, her smile grew wider and her cheeks grew pinker. Really? She said at last, looking at Dad and the twins. Are you sure? There was an excruciatingly long pause. Finally, Mom exclaimed, My word! As a matter of fact, yes. I think we may have stumbled on it. We'll check and let you know. Thank you. Mom hung up and sat down slowly. You may be right about the grave, kids, she said. The diary is indeed Frances Smith's, and what's more, she looked at Dad again. The librarian says Frances's grave was indeed on our land. Apparently, a number of years ago, The farmer who lived here discovered the gravestone was missing, and he thought one of his farmhands who had quit and left town had probably knocked into it with a tractor and crushed it. No one knows for sure, the librarian said, but the theory is that the farmhand probably hid the fragments, ding, 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 the pieces, because he knew the grave was a historic relic and he was afraid he'd be blamed for harming it. I'll be darned, said Dad. I guess we'd better have a look. All right, our next chapter, boys and girls, is Eureka. Now, guys, when it says that the farmhand thought that the grave was a historic relic, that means something really important from history, something that had been around a long time. So he was afraid that he'd be blamed for harming it, and that's why he left town. That's the theory. That's what everybody thinks. Well, all right. Answer your questions. Use the text. Next, we're reading our final chapter of The Secret of Smith's Hill.